So today we're going to talk about passive voice. First, we're going to talk about the differences between active voice and passive voice. So the differences is for active voice, we talk about what the subject does. But for passive voice, we talk about what happens to the subject. So let's move on to talk about when do we use passive voice. There are three situations that we use passive voice. First one, it is obvious who does the action. The second one, we do not know or cannot remember who does the action. Number three, the action is more important than the person who does it. So for the first one, it is obvious who does the action. For example, the thief was arrested last night. So here it is obvious that the thief does the action. Second, we do not know or cannot remember who does the action. So for example, my wallet was stolen. So we do not know or we cannot remember who stole our wallet. Number three, the action is more important than the person who does it. So for example, the first 30-hour fast was organized in 1971. So here, the action is more important than the person who organized it. Number three, how do we form and use passive voice? So here we need verb to be and past participle. For example, they built this house in 1988. So this is the original sentence with active voice. But the new sentence is, this house was built in 1988. So here we change the subject to this house, and then we have the verb to be was, and then the past participle built. So from this sentence to a new sentence, here this house was built by them in 1988. So here we mention the doer with by. So let's talk about passive voice in different tenses. For simple present tense, the active voice is do or does, but in passive voice, it's am, or are, or is done. For present continuous tense, the active voice is am, or are, or is doing. For passive voice, it is am, or are, or is being done. For simple past tense, the passive voice is was or were done, but for the active voice, it's just simply did. For past continuous tense, the active voice is was or were doing, but for passive voice, it's was or were being done. For simple future tense, the active voice is shall or will do, but for passive voice, it's shall or will be done. So here we can see that for passive voice, the past participle for do is done. So what about questions in the passive voice? For example, for the simple present tense, the question in the passive voice will be am or are or is plus the subject plus the past participle. But for present continuous tense, it's similar. It's am or are or is plus subject plus being plus past participle. But for simple past tense, we have was or were plus the subject plus past participle. For past continuous tense, we have was or were plus subject plus being plus past participle. And for simple future tense, we have shall or will plus the subject plus be and past participle. and for answers in the passive voice. For simple present tense and present continuous tense, their answer in the passive voice will be yes or no, plus the subject, plus am or are or is. Or you can say am or are or is not. For simple past tense and past continuous tense, we have yes or no at the beginning, and then we add the subject, and then we use was or were or was not or were not. For simple future tense, again we have yes or no, and then we add the subject and shall or will or shall not or will not. Let's look at some examples. Is the magic show being held today? Yes, it is. Will the meeting be held next Monday? No, it won't. So here we need to pay attention to being held and be held. For WH questions, for simple present tense, we have the WH word, and then am or are or is plus subject plus past participle. For present continuous tense, we have the WH word at the beginning plus am or are or is plus subject plus being plus past participle. For simple past tense, again, we will have the WH word at the beginning, and then we have was or were plus subject plus past participle. Past continuous tense, WH word plus was or were plus subject plus being plus past participle. For simple future tense, we have WH word and shall or will plus subject plus be plus past participle. So again, let's look at some examples. When were the thieves arrested? They were arrested last night. What were they seen to be doing? They were seen breaking open a door. So here let's do some exercise. So you have the question here, and then for the first sentence, it's in the active voice. So you need to choose the most correct way of saying the same thing in the passive voice. And you have some choices. Just 20 seconds to finish this task. So, time's up. Let's look at the answers. So here, the tense is past continuous tense. So here, we need to add being in the answers. So the answer will be, she was being interviewed for the job. So for second one, again, you need to pick from these choices. And you have 20 seconds to finish this question. Time's up. Let's look at the answers. So here, the original one is present continuous tense. So here we need to add the word being to the answer. So that's why the answer is being written. So number 3, again, you have 20 seconds to finish this task. So time's up. Let's check the answer. So the original sentence is simple present tense. So here for the passive voice, you just simply need is and the past participle. So that's why the answer is A. English is understood by everyone. Number 4. Again, you will have 20 seconds to finish this task. So time's up. Let's look at the answers. So here the original sentence is the professor told him not to talk in class. So this one is simple past tense. What we need to do is add was or were plus past participle. So here the subject is he, that's why we use was. That's why the answer is he was told by the professor not to talk in class. Number 5. Again, you have 20 seconds to do this task. So, time's up. Here, the original one is they say that women are smarter than men. So this is simple present tense. That's why we use is, am, or are plus the past participle. So here in this case, it's woman. So this is plural form, so we use are. That's why the answer is are said. Women are said to be smarter than men. Number 6. Again, you have 20 seconds to finish this question. So, time's up. Let's look at the answers. The fire has destroyed the house. So here we see has destroyed. That's why when we put the subject, the house, at the beginning, we have to use has been destroyed. That's why the answer is A. Number 7. You have 20 seconds to do this question. Time's up. She would have told you. It's the active voice. So for passive voice, we need to add been. That's why the answer is you would have been told by her. Number 8. Again, you have 20 seconds. So time's up. She would reject the offer. It's the active voice, but for passive voice, we need to add be. So that's why the answer is the offer would be rejected by her. So here, don't forget to change the reject to rejected, which is a past participle. Number 9. You have 20 seconds. So time's up. This one is quite easy. This surprises me, so it's simple present tense. So what we need to do is use is or am or are plus participle. So here the subject is I. That's why the answer is I am surprised by this. Let's have a short review. So for passive voice, it focuses on the receiver, not the doer of an action. So how do we form the passive voice? First, we'll have the verb to be and the past participle of the main verb. For example, when was the charity concert held? It was held last year. Was it well received? Yes, it's still being talked about by people now. So here we can see the passive voice was held, well received, being talked. Let's do a little bit more exercise. So here you need to arrange the words and then to form a passive voice sentence. So here you have 3 minutes to finish this task. So time's up, let's check the answer. First one, an art exhibition was organized by the art club last week. Second one, visitors were being guided to the large sculpture when they arrived. Number 3, Sammy Dunn from class 3B was hit by a truck while crossing the road. So again, you have 3 minutes to finish this task. So time's up. Let's look at the answers. Students' paintings and a large sculpture were displayed at the exhibition. He was sent to the hospital immediately after the incident. So here you have number 6, 7, and 8. Again, you have 3 minutes to finish this task. So let's check the answers. Question 6. He will be released from the hospital tomorrow morning. Number 7. The school library is being renovated at the moment. Number 8. Hundreds of books will be added to the library. So, don't forget to do the homework. This is the end of our class today. Thank you everyone.